Now, it's been almost 3 years since the release of the Xbox Series S, and in my honest opinion, it's a really great console that's holding up very well. And when I say aged very well, I mean that if you're someone who doesn't really care to have the best console, someone who wants to buy a budget-friendly console for yourself or your kids, or if you're someone who wanted to experience the Xbox as a secondary console, then there is no better place to look than the Xbox Series S. And besides it being a budget-friendly console, it has many things to give any gamer a pretty great experience. You can still buy Game Pass, you can still play any game that you would on the Xbox Series X, you still have amazing hardware that's easy to place anywhere in your house, and you will still get really good graphics that enhance your visual experience. And in this video, I'll be going over many different features, specs, and questions that you guys have in regards to whether or not the Xbox Series S is worth buying 3 years after its release. Now, looking at the design of the Xbox Series S, I really love how simple it looks. It's a very sharp, solid, and uniform looking box that looks very good in my opinion, and something that I love is just how small it is. Right here, you can see how small it is compared to the Xbox Series X, and I personally think that this is a great benefit because a lot of people will buy the Series S for their kids or as a secondary console. So if your kids want to go to their grandma's house, they can easily put the Series S into their book bag since it's small and light and take it there with no problem. The same goes for people who use it as their secondary console. And if you have a flight to catch, you can put it in your bag, check it, or take it with you, and when you get to the hotel you can plug it up, set up the Wi-Fi, and play. The simplicity also benefits the Series S since it requires less maintenance. I didn't have to take anything off since the design is very simple, and I didn't really have to customize it since it's matte and it looks really good. It made placing so much easier because the ventilation is at the top, so if you lay it flat or have it standing up, you'll be able to get good ventilation. Also, it was the perfect size so I could put it anywhere I wanted to, as long as there was good ventilation for it to breathe. The matte material still has great benefits. As you can see, there's little to no scratches, it's very easy to clean, and the only problem that I had with it is that it's white, so the dirt stains will show much easier. Now when it comes to the buttons and ports on the Series S, it only has 2 different buttons on the front, including the Xbox symbol power button and the controller button that connects your controller to your Xbox. And unfortunately, there is no eject tray for discs, so games can only be bought and played using digital. Now just like the Xbox Series X, something that bothers me is the fact that the Series S not only has 1 port in the front, but also the fact that they made it only regular USB. Again, most companies all across tech have converted to USB-C fully, and I find it more difficult to find a USB-C to USB-A cable. I really wish they could have put 2 ports, 1 USB-C and 1 regular USB, just like on the PS5. My favorite charger is USB-C to USB-C. I use this cord for all of my gaming devices, but I couldn't really use it since my Xbox is still using USB-A, which was very disappointing. But again, I love the discreet look that it offered, so if you are considering getting something that's very discreet, easy to clean, and simple, the Xbox Series S fits your style. Now looking at the home screen and UI of the Xbox Series S, it'll give you the exact same experience as the Xbox Series X, which is pretty amazing considering the price. And also, just like the Series X, you can tell it's inspired by Windows as it continues the very boxy looking apps. It felt incredibly smooth to scroll through, everything was completely laid out and easy to see, and I like how it feels like it kept the essence of previous Xboxes. Now the home screen has changed over time. Whenever you scroll through different apps and games, the background will change just like the PS5, and I really like it since it adds depth and it feels much more immersive. And also, if you're not much of a fan of the always changing backgrounds, you have the option to set it to a default background. Xbox offers many different wallpapers, from simple color ones, the dynamic ones that are my personal favorite and are often attached to a game that you like, and you can even add your own picture, which makes your Series S feel even more personal to you. And taking a quick look at the quick menu, the Series S has a very clean and effective setup. I could scroll through each menu with a click of a button, and everything was labeled so you won't have any trouble finding anything. Now looking at the Xbox Series S controller, everything was pretty much the exact same as the Xbox One's controller, but has been made to feel more comfortable. The controller has a smaller size, which helps when you're gaming with big or small hands. On the front, there's the Xbox power button, which looks really good. There's a nicer looking D-pad along with asymmetrical sticks, and the material is more rugged, which counts for a better grip. The D-pad looks fine, but over the years, I've noticed that it looks really cheap, which is very telling since this controller costs more than the previous version, despite being incredibly the same. And besides the look and functionalities of the Series S controller, I really love the amazing colors that the controller has available. You have so many different colors and choices to fit whatever you like. And what's even better is the fact that just like previous generations, Microsoft allows you to customize your controllers. If you don't like any of the colors that they have, it will cost you more, but I think that this is cool since it gives gamers more freedom on customization. And now, depending on the type of gamer you are, there will be many different accessories that you're going to be on the lookout for to accommodate your needs to perform better. Now, if you're a serious gamer that plays more first-person shooters like Halo Infinite, the Series S has some really great controller options that will help. You can buy the Xbox Series 2 controller that comes with a ton of different features and accessories itself, like the ability to use back pedals, the joysticks and movement is much better, and it's basically a cheaper version of the Elite 2, so that's also a benefit. The materials on this controller feel much better and less cheap compared to the original controller, and I personally would not recommend it to kids, but to the people who want to use the Series S as your first or secondary console, I think that it'll be a great upgrade. Now, as always, the main thing that makes a console great is its gaming catalog, and the Series S has a ton of different games that'll satisfy you, no matter the genre of games that you like. And unlike the PS5, Microsoft isn't the strongest in the game in terms of big name exclusives, but I think that what they really excel at is their indie games and lower to mid tier exclusives. And I want to let you guys in on the games that I've been playing. Now, starting with Hi-Fi Rush, it's an amazing Xbox exclusive that is very artistic yet different. It has a sort of music-based fighting style, and I had a ton of fun with it. There's amazing boss battles, the movement within the fighting is incredible, and the visuals are amazing, especially since it's aligned with great storytelling. Forza Horizon is one of the bigger name titles on the Series S, and I had no other option than to include it. It's an amazing simulation racing game that not only has arguably the best graphics that I've seen on a game, but it's also a ton of fun since you can explore the open world, you can collect different cars, play the very in-depth story mode, and even do amazing challenges to show how good your racing skills are. Halo Infinite is another amazing title that I've really grown to love. It has really good storytelling in its campaign mode, which allows you to roam freely since it's sort of an open world experience. You have the multiplayer mode that includes fun game modes like Slayer, Oddball, and Capture the Flag, which is my personal favorite. You have Starfield, which so far is really amazing. It provides sort of an open world experience where you can travel across the universe and go to different planets. The action is amazing, the storytelling is amazing, and so far I'm about 13 hours in and I have no complaints about the game whatsoever. And last but not least, you have Gears of War, which is still amazing. Just like Halo Infinite, it has a really good story mode that has a very emotional story, and it has a multiplayer that I still find myself going back to whenever I play my Xbox. And there's just so many underrated games that the Xbox Series S has. Again, it's not really the greatest when it comes to big name exclusives, but if you do get a Series S, then you won't have any shortage of fun. Something that's even better about being able to explore big and small name games on the Series S is that you don't even have to pay for them in full. Every single one of these games that I've mentioned is included in arguably the best feature that the Series S has, and that's Game Pass. Now, Game Pass is basically an all-inclusive subscription where you can pay monthly to access hundreds of Xbox and big market games via cloud or download. Every single game in Game Pass is playable in full, and this is truly where the Series S proves its greatness along with its price. And if you want to access hundreds of games, get exclusive deals, and have discounts on games that aren't included in the membership, you'll only be paying $10 a month for the basic version. But if you want to get the Ultimate Edition, where you'll be able to get all things included with the basic version, be able to play all across Microsoft-owned devices, and have Xbox Live Gold, which allows you to play online with your friends, then the Ultimate Edition Game Pass might be more catered to you. Personally, I love Game Pass because, as you guys know, gaming has gotten very expensive. Each new game now is around $70, which means that if there's 4 games that you really want to buy, you'll easily be spending $200 to $300, which is way too much money. Because if you think the Ultimate Edition is way too much money to be spending, then think about it like this. Say you buy 4 games a year. Each of them are $70. If you multiply that equals $280, which is a lot of money. But if you get the Ultimate Edition, that's $17 times 12 months and a year, and that equals up to $204, so you're basically spending less money. And even if you want the basic plan that's $10 a month, you're spending $120 a year, which is an even better deal. Again, hundreds of games in your catalog for less money than buying 4 games full. That honestly sounds like a good deal to me. Now, another benefit is that there's no waiting. So say there's a new game that's coming out and it's going to be on Game Pass, you will be able to play that game on the first day as soon as the clock hits 12. And going more into Game Pass, the list is amazing. You'll be able to play EA games from Madden, NHL, the Star Wars series, and all their other sports games and shooters. Game Pass gets even better since Microsoft has recently tried to acquire Activision, so there's a possibility that we'll be getting brand new Call of Duty games on Game Pass. The Series S is also backwards compatible, which means that you can play Xbox One, Xbox 360, and original Xbox games on it, which really brings up the value, especially for that price. The last thing that I wanted to touch on was the overall performance of the Xbox Series S. As we all know, the graphics are pretty great, but I will admit that they are a step down from the Xbox Series X. The Series S is 1440p instead of 4K, and you can really tell whenever you put a game side by side with the Series X. The Series X was much more sharper and had much more attention to detail, but if you don't put them side by side, then the Series S will look amazing and it still looks next gen. Everything looks very clean, and if you're someone who wants a very good visual experience, then the Series S won't disappoint. Now, my favorite feature on the Series S was easily quick resume, which allows you to jump between games without having to save or close them, I can switch between 4 different games and it will go to the exact point of where I left off at, which means that I can play many different games without having to restart anything. And this is something that I will use very frequently whenever I had to leave the house to go do chores or simply just play another game. It was very fast and really helped whenever I didn't feel like saving my game or closing the app. And last but not least, I wanted to touch on some dislikes that I've experienced with my Series S after almost 3 years of use. And I pretty much have the same dislikes as the Series X because I didn't like the stock storage. Now, if you want to get a couple of games, more than likely your storage will be full before you even know it, which means that you'll have to buy a very expensive hard drive that costs just as much as the console. Another problem that I have is that even though the Series S and X have a ton of games, I would like to see much more big name exclusives in the works. Again, Starfield is out and we have a new Forza coming out, but that's pretty much the only hype that I have for Xbox exclusives going into the end of the year. And finally, I really wish Xbox would have put more effort into the stock controller. I really admire how the PlayStation had an amazing controller that feels very premium and has a ton of features, and I would have liked to see Microsoft put in that same amount of effort. So here's the final question. Is the Xbox Series S worth buying after 3 years? Well, in my honest opinion, I would say hell yeah. And if you buy the Xbox Series S, I think that you're truly going to get your money's worth and it serves a great purpose. If you have kids, need a second console, or want a first console but don't want to spend too much money, then it's perfect for you. And let me know down in the comments, what made you buy or want to buy an Xbox Series S and why? Let me know down in the comments.